Hey guys, I am doing day 12 in my bed because I've just been at the conference all weekend and I am absolutely exhausted. So please ignore the wobbly camera and the shadows and everything. Today we're talking about ownership. Now, ownership is the next step after acceptance. Acceptance, we looked at really just coming face to face with what this sin is, what this problem is. It's choosing to almost like, when you're driving down a road and you see a stop sign, we're choosing to stop, take account, take inventory of what's happening, of our circumstances, or what's happening around us. How did we get here? What car am I in? What road am I on? Taking accountability, making space to see things through a different perspective, maybe one we didn't consider before. And then ownership is like, okay, I'm ready to move on this journey again. I'm not taking camp here. I'm not staying here. I'm not becoming a victim. But now I've accepted this thing with the goal of moving out of it. I'm taking ownership now. I'm not blaming. I'm not defending. I'm not projecting. I'm not hiding. I'm not isolating. I'm not over spiritualizing things. I'm not avoiding it. I'm just ready to move on, and I am taking responsibility for my part in what I've done. And what this does, in one way, it empowers us to prepare to move out of it, but it also disempowers the authority that it once had. Then what happens is we can give the enemy more space to move in that thing. And what it looks like is saying, I'm aware of this repetitive sin in my life. I am aware that I keep going to this lesser thing and it's consuming every part of my inner world. It's consuming every part of my mind. Right now, I feel like I have no control over it. Ownership is saying I am not blaming that person for treating me so badly, and I'm not going to be powerless and say that it's all their fault and they made me do it, or enemy is just keeps tempting me and I have no control. Like, ownership is saying those things may have influenced me in the past, but right now I take full responsibility and I'm choosing to break alignment with those people or with that enemy, with those temptations. I'm breaking off all authority it has. I'm owning the choices I made that got me there. But now I'm choosing to take it, to give it to God, and to move on out of it. And so what happens when you break off that authority that you've given to people or the enemy and you take ownership, then you're becoming, you're reclaiming that inner world. You're reclaiming every part of you that you've given to somebody that didn't belong to them, or you're reclaiming every part of you that you gave the enemy access to, and you're owning it. You're bringing it back to yourself in order to give it to God. And so why does ownership matter? Ownership matters because cycles will keep going on and on and on and around and around and around for years and years and years if you don't take that authority over it. So that looks like, we need to stop defending our reactions. Oh, it's okay. It's okay that I did that because they were idiots to me. Or justifying your responses. They said this to me, so I said it back to them. Or blaming people or circumstances. It was their fault that I got so drunk last night and every time I hang out with them, they make me drink. Or waiting for other people to change. Oh, when my partner decides to stop smoking, then I'm going to stop smoking too, because I just can't control, what's happening in our house. Or when you're focusing on what's happening to you instead of what's happening in you. A good example of this I find with Christians is we find it hard to take ownership even of our spiritual life because we're depending on the church and the pastors and Sunday to feed us and to grow us and to form us and to strengthen us spiritually instead of actually having that one-on-one relationship with God. And so, we get upset and we go to church and it's like, oh, I didn't get what I needed. Oh, they didn't give me what I needed. And then we get offended because they didn't meet our expectations. And at the end of the day, they can't give us what we need. They're always going to fail us. And so we have to take ownership of our own spiritual walk. We read the word, we pray in the Spirit, we spend time with God, we study the scriptures, we fellowship with one another, we take communion. These are things that we do in our own time in relationship and communion with God, and then the time with others corporately are an overflow every week. They're adding to what we've already developed one-on-one in our own time personally with God. And so ownership breaks that victim mindset. We're blaming everybody else for something, and it brings authority back to us. It makes us aware of the areas where we've been disempowered, and we're re-empowering ourselves. We're taking the power back. We are really not being moved anymore by circumstances or what happened or, what people say or do or don't do. And we're rather only being moved by what God says. To break it into 4 parts, we're not blaming, we're not being defensive, we're not projecting, we're not even choosing distraction or denial. Like, these are all excuses. They're all tactics also from the enemy to keep us where we are. If he knows he can use these things and we empower him in these things, then he'll keep using it. But there's never a valid reason for you to be a victim. And even if you've done nothing wrong, just say, you're in a relationship and someone keeps treating you badly and you've absolutely done nothing wrong, and you feel so justified to just choose lesser ways of reacting and, even letting anger come out or hatred or unforgiveness. At the end of the day, you have a choice. You get to choose your reaction. You get to choose, do I react in a way that's disempowered, that's powerless, that is heated and fueled and doesn't really bring any unity in relationship or connection? Or do I respond? Our responses can be assertive. They can have boundaries in them. They can be empowered. You can be powerful. One's coming from a place of weakness and lack of control, and one's coming from a place of strength and assuredness and assertiveness, moving in the fruit of the Spirit, in love, in unity. Unity isn't based on agreement. You and I don't have to agree to be united, but what we do need to be is operating in love. Every interaction that you have with me, with your loved one, with anybody, you want it to be in a place of, these people, are they encountering the heart of God every time they meet with me? If they're not, then you really need to take some ownership about the way you're reacting. Any reaction that opposes love is 100% without a doubt going to be a seed for sin in your life. And so we have to make sure, in the same way we take inventory of our thoughts, we take inventory of, the motives of our hearts, our ambitions, our idols. We need to take inventory also of our reactions, choosing to respond in love instead of reacting in sin. Number 3, admit where you messed up. This doesn't make you a loser. It doesn't make you a failure. It's actually such a strong character trait to have. Say to yourself, say to God, I didn't depend on you in this moment, Lord. I chose myself instead of loving somebody else. I chose myself and put my needs above somebody else's. Like, you can only be responsible for your own thoughts, your actions, your emotions, your behavior. So the sooner you admit it, the sooner God can correct it, restore it, heal it, transform it. 4, people don't have power over you. Satan doesn't have power over you. Only you have power over you. So if you're stuck, again, if you're giving authority to people, you're giving authority to the enemy, then that's a choice that you've made. Like, it's not their fault, it's your fault. Someone may hurt you, but it's only you that has the power to let it go. You could sell your soul to the devil. He doesn't own you. You have the power through the power of Christ, the choice. You have free will to let it go. And so ask yourself the question, am I going to let this thing hold on to me and grip me, rip its claws in me and own me? Or am I going to take ownership and say, no, I made this decision. I'm breaking off that covenant I made with it, the authority that I gave it in the past. I'm removing that from my life. I'm taking ownership now. I'm taking the authority back. I'm reclaiming it and I'm giving it to God. Romans 6:14 says, sin shall have no dominion over you. That means every bit of power, every bit of rule, every bit of authority, it has no dominion over you. So you're not powerless. You're not at the mercy of your emotions or the enemy or your reactions or your problems. You are in charge. You get to choose. And so ownership restores your identity, your spiritual identity. It gives you your authority back. It removes excuses, self-pity, victimhood, stagnation, passivity. And it activates in you growth, humility, spiritual responsibility, which is a big one, authority, and transformation. So I hope you realize, like, by the end of this video, that when we take ownership of something, you know, it's choosing to stop making these excuses and, you know, blaming everything, and just giving God access really to heal you. You know, I'm not going to be powerless to the enemy anymore, but I'm going to really just be empowered to take this to God and to see him move in healing and to move in, you know, even restoring my identity. So yeah, hope all of that makes sense. But I want you to answer some questions. Number one, where am I blaming others for something God is asking me to own? Number two, where am I reacting from hurt instead of responding from truth? When we're honest with ourselves, like, it is so freeing. Part of taking ownership is understanding as well, if I can't get free from this thing, maybe I need to see a counselor. Maybe I need to speak to my pastor. Maybe I need to actually just, you know, do prayer ministry or something like that to find freedom in whatever area it is. It could be spiritually, it could be emotionally, it could be, you know, stuff happened when you were a kid and you just can't move through it. And now it's causing these reactions that you feel absolutely powerless against. And that's fine, you know, that is absolutely fine. When we look at life, you know, being tripart beings, we look at it through a spiritual perspective, an emotional perspective, like a physical perspective, then we identify, you know, what part of my life needs reintegrating into wholeness and to fullness and to completeness. And it's not a weakness to see someone. It's not a weakness to ask for help. Like, it's my greatest pleasure to take clients through, you know, understanding a lot about who they were. Again, we don't camp there, but we understand, so then we can move into bringing fullness and completeness in all of their being, their life, their relationships, socially, you know, emotionally, even with their dreams and goals and calling and all of that stuff. So sometimes we just need someone to just walk with us and to guide us. Anyway, I'm going off track a little bit, but the rest of the questions are there. What excuse or justification do I need to lay down today? Maybe that's a script from your past, you know, oh, they always did this to me. Maybe it's time to move on from that place. This is a good one. Where have I been relying on myself instead of God? You know, for me, I can do so many things. I'm so capable. I feel so strong. I'm an independent woman. But there's so many things I had to lay down of myself, you know, my dependence on myself, relying on myself. I would not give God a chance because I was too busy trying to just work it all out, figure it all out, have it all together. And lastly, what part of my inner world do I need to take responsibility for right now? We are all on a journey of healing. It's a progression. We have been saved. Jesus, by the cross, from what he did, we've received salvation from Christ. We are being saved. It's that constant progression, you know, being formed into the image of Christ. It's that sanctification. It's that daily dying. It's that constant renewal. And we will be saved, you know, spending eternity in heaven with the Lord. You know, it's this 3 different things, and we're living in that tension of all those 3 things at the same time. We can't hold on to one reality. Oh, I'm saved, you know, I'm free from all of that stuff. Yeah, we are, but there's a walking out while we're here on earth. And that's the beauty of communing with Christ, with walking with him, with journeying with him. He's not asking us to be his clones. He's saying, you know, I've done all this. I've experienced all these things. Every temptation I've dealt with, and I'm here. I brought my spirit to help you, to strengthen you, to guide you through your journey and your process. He doesn't want to make these Christian zombies. He wants to know your heart. He wants to hear your process. He wants to journey with you. He wants you to depend on him. He wants you to lean on him. Like every spiritual blessing in the heavenly realm. Like he's given it to you. And sometimes we can't access it because, you know, we've got things in the way. And he knows how to. And so it's in this relationship, this journey, this, you know, receiving and giving and taking and loving onto him and receiving his love and, you know, all of these things that lead us, that equip us, that prepare us for this journey that we take every day. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.